it's the worst winter that I've ever lived through in my lifetime up here.
So you can opt out of buying that $150 preference point.
And boy, right at the finish line, they jerked the legs out from underneath it and it didn't pass.
Welcome to the Built to Hunt podcast, brought to you by the team of hunt advisors at the Huntin Fool magazine, where we are dedicated to helping our members go on more hunts with better information. Join Huntin Fool today at huntinfool.com.
This podcast is brought to you by onX Hunt. Get the onX Hunt Elite membership and give yourself every advantage you can this hunting season without breaking the bank. The onX Elite membership has all the maps and data for all 50 states, plus Canada. It works with or without your cell coverage, and it has the GPS tools you'll need to know where you are and where you're going when out in the field. It also provides you with exclusive services and discounts for everything you need on your hunt, from boots all the way to suppressors. You can save even more money this hunting season when you use code HUNTINFOOL to receive 20% off your first premium or elite membership at www.onxmaps.com/hunt.
All right, on today's Built to Hunt podcast, we wanted to bring you up to speed on some of the changes and how the license allocation has affected the Wyoming draw. So we've got Logan Hedges here. How are you, Logan?
Oh, I'm doing good. Still winter up here, though. For the
Can you
first
see your fence posts?
Yeah, just the tops of them. So, yeah, but it is sunny today, so we're optimistic, I guess.
Yeah, you're going to have snow all the way through the fall. There's
Yeah.
no way some of this snow is going to melt off.
No, these mountains, those north sides of these mountains will have snow. Yeah, you won't have to worry about water if you're up in the mountains this year.
Plenty of water. Well, yeah, so if you remember, we covered the sheep, moose, goat, and bison and elk draw in our January magazine, but that was way before we even had the proposed license numbers, just how they run the draw in Wyoming. But luckily, they pushed back the sheep, moose, goat, and bison deadline until April 17th. So a lot of people haven't applied. Maybe they have applied, but they want to modify their unit selection. So now that we have proposals, I think we should provide an update to everybody of what it's looking like as far as preference versus random and how this 90-10 split is going to affect everybody.
Yeah, because it is going to affect everybody for sure. So, mostly in a negative way.
Yeah, if you're a resident, I guess you're happy, right?
I guess I mean, a little bit of positive if you're a resident, but boy, not much. So
Not much.
Yeah, not enough to make a difference, really. No.
Yeah. There's just not enough licenses to go around.
No, just not enough animals out there, unfortunately.
Let's talk about sheep. I mean, if you do not have 23 preference points or more as a non-resident, you're basically have been just applying for the random draw for however many years you've been playing the game. But there used to be more random licenses spread across, especially that northwest corner. What's it looking like for this year?
Well, it's looking pretty bleak if you don't. The only unit that's going to have a random tag in it is Area 5 right now. There's 4 non-resident licenses being issued there as of now, and I think it's going to stay that way from the talks. We will know here in about 10 days if that's for sure or not, but that's where one random tag will be right there, and it'll be the only random sheep tag in the state for non-residents.
Yeah, and I wish the system allowed you to see that, right? Because when you shop through units and you say, I want to hunt 17 or I want to hunt unit 24, whatever it may be, you're just wasting your application and all those fees if you mark those units and you don't have 23, 24, 25 points.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So it's honestly right now 24 points is the mark that you want to be at to draw a tag for this year. Couple guys with 23 might draw, but realistically 24 is going to be the mark that you have a realistic chance to draw.
Oh, even though there's still non-resident licenses across many of these units, like you say, it's a preference draw for 75%. So they're all going to go to preference holders
All
with
going
those
preference.
points.
Yep, absolutely. So other than that one, so you have to have 4 tags to get where they're going to give us a random draw, a random tag, and that's the only unit that they're going to have that in. So, and they got creative to do that even. So,
Yeah.
which I was glad they did. We put some pressure on them to try to do it, and we were hoping to get one in Unit 4 as well, but we didn't get it.
So not much to talk about for Rocky Sheep other than if you don't have 23, 24 points or more, apply for Unit 5 or don't apply at all.
Yep. Yeah, and another thing that everybody kind of needs to know, and some people probably heard it, the Wyoming legislature, they voted down that weighted point system. A lot of us thought it was going to, including myself, figured that it was going to pass. On the third reading, they voted that down this year. It would have gone into effect in 2027, and it would have been where you squared your points. So there is a push to get that back for the non-residents. It was the resident push that really stopped it when it came down to it. That didn't want it, but I think it needs to be looked at again for just non-residents, because even if you're sitting with 15, 18 points right now, we run the numbers, you're just not going to draw a sheep tag as a non-resident in Wyoming, unless they go to that weighted point system, or you're 25 years old, which yeah. So.
It is a messy system because we talk about random draws all the time, and we have these points that we think help us because they give us more chances in the draw. And Wyoming is a truly random. You got one entry into the random draw, regardless of your points. So a lot of guys are saying, should I continue to spend $150 for a sheep point or a moose point every year, and how is it helping me? Well, if you're not going to reach that preference level, the maximum point level for those hunts, I think it's a waste of money under the current system. It, like you say, it could change, but it's not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, we thought it was going to happen, so I kind of feel bad because I told a lot of people that I felt like it was going to pass from everybody that I talked to at the legislature, and it passed the first 2. And then, man, somebody got a hold of it at the end, and boy, right at the finish line, they jerked the legs out from underneath it, and it didn't pass. And so, yeah, that's kind of a tough call, because hopefully it's going to pass one of these days. I think if we separate residents and non-residents, I think we can get it through. But we'll just have to see how it plays out. So if people really want it, they probably ought to get involved and make a few phone calls or send some emails.
Yep. So if you're going in for sheep, apply for Unit 5. Me personally, I would not buy the point because I don't have enough points for it ever to matter. So you can opt out of buying that $150 preference point, and so you just front the license fee. You lose a little bit for your app and your non-refundable transaction fee, but you're in a sheep draw.
Yep. You bet. Somebody's got to draw it.
Someone's got to. What about mountain goat? I mean, mountain goats just seem to struggle up there. What's killing them, or are they just being conservative?
Yeah, I think they're being a little conservative. Of course, this winter we've had, it's definitely taken its toll on everything. And then, mountain goats, they're just, I don't know, they just don't do great in this country up here. They start to do well for a while, and then they just, a bunch of them end up dying. They're almost as bad as the sheep at times. Yeah, they have never done great ever since I was a kid. When they first had them, basically brought them into here, we were all excited about them. Man, we were all going to have a chance to hunt a mountain goat. That's not the case. So it's even like Area 2 right here above where I live. I mean, they're down to 5 tags this year on that. Which, one of them will be a non-resident tag, but man, that herd was thriving at one time. We really thought it was going to take off, and it looks pretty bleak now.
I know right across the border in Idaho, there's Unit 67, and they canceled that hunt completely for this year. Just said, nope, not right now. So
yeah. Well, hopefully they'll bounce back, and a few people have an opportunity.
Yeah. So for mountain goat, it's a random draw. Nothing has changed there as far as how the draw is conducted. We're just down to a lot fewer permits. So we're talking 1 non-resident tag in Unit 1, 1 in Unit 2, 1 in Unit 3, Type 2, and then 2 non-resident tags in Unit 3 Type 1.
Yeah.
Which is up there on the North Fork. I mean, if you have to pick one, what do you pick? How do you determine which one to go for?
Well, if you can take the Type 1 there in Area 3, I mean, that's personally what I put in for, because you can hunt the whole unit up there. So it, they limit the Type 2 guys to, they're on the North Fork Shoshone River area, so, which is good. There's mountain goats in there, but they kind of want to focus on that area right there and try to get a few killed out of right there. So, which is definitely doable. So,
still have to front the license fee, but hey, at least there's no points, no point fee. You're just hoping to get lucky.
You bet. So, yeah.
We'll save moose for last. Let's talk bison. How did the bison hunt go up there this year through the winter?
Well, we finally got winter, so it went pretty well. We finally got some snow early, which is good and bad. It was great for the bison hunt, but it's been bad for everything else so far this winter. The bison moved well. They got a pretty good kill on bison, a lot better than they were anticipating. And with that, they cut the bison tags considerably. This year, did away with the cow bison hunt. Well, the cow or calf bison hunt, and cut the any bison tags down considerably, down to 50 this year.
Is that going to affect the quality of the hunt? I mean, do you find everybody spreads out, or how would you interpret that?
The quality of the hunt is it's tough, because where they're sitting there in Teton Park, it makes it tough. You can look at a lot of bison, and that you just can't touch them where they're at a lot of the time. And I talk to guys up here all the time. They're just like, man, they're right here. They're close, but they're just not coming out where we can hunt them. And there are a few bulls that get harvested every year on the national forest there. They come off the park and go up in some of those drainages, like up Spread Creek and that. We've been successful harvesting some bison up there. It gets a little tricky. You got to make sure things are worked out right, and you get him knocked down before he gets back on the park. Which there was an incident this year where a gentleman shot one and he went and died on the park, and ended up being he got to pay a little fine when that was all said and done. So I don't think they're about where they want to be. Their numbers are about an objective, so that's kind of why they made these cuts. Matter of fact, their cows are probably a little lower than they want right now. So
Gotcha.
We've got a good harvest on cows, and so they're going to be pretty conservative right now, and we'll see what the bison do. So.
And now that's also affected by the 90-10 percentage split. So a cut from 125 tags down to 50 this year. This used to be one of the easier bison draws for non-residents, because it's expensive. It's totally random. There's no points. But now we're going to be looking at 5 licenses total for non-residents.
Yep. Yeah. So that's a decision the guy's got to make, and if he wants to try to do it, and it's going to be tricky. So I've been trying to draw one as a resident my entire life, and I've never drawn one. So lots of my family members have. My wife's done it. After we got married, I started putting her in. She drew one, and I've got to go on a lot of bison hunts. I just haven't ever got to harvest one.
Gotcha. Okay, let's talk moose, because this is another one that's severely affected, and it's kind of how they run this 90-10 split. It's messy how you guys set your permit numbers per hunt, and it's not a per species, and it's not a per region. It's messy how they decide where a permit gets to go to non-residents and where it doesn't.
Yeah, so when I was talking to them about this, and we were trying to figure it out, because this was new to them a little bit too, where they basically had to get creative with the moose and the sheep. They tried to group areas that were going to be below 10 tags. Like they put these areas together that had 5 tags here and 5 tags here, and in one area they'll give a non-resident for this year, and next year they'll give it in the other unit. So they'll just kind of skip back and forth on them. Is how they're trying to do it. It's going to be a little interesting. There are going to be a couple of random tags for guys that don't have the top end points in units 25 and 26. there will be one random tag in each of those for non-residents, but other than that, that's it. And they are the only two units that have non-resident tag numbers over 2 tags. So everything else is 1, 0, 1, or 2. So yeah, it could be a little tricky to draw one. You're gonna have to get creative and hope hope you can get in there when nobody else is looking at a unit.
So the bulk of the non-residents that have points are sitting at that 22 or 23 point level. So is it fair to say that's what it's going to take this year to even be considered in those preference tags?
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of guys with 22 points. I just don't see them in the running. So 20, unless of course everybody skips over a certain unit and they get slipped in there and nobody with 23 or 24 points ahead of them. So, and I don't see that happening. But yeah, I mean, I would, if I'm sitting definitely 21 points or lower, I'm putting in for 25 or 26 and hoping for a random tag. Yeah. So.
What's the trophy quality in 25 and 26? I mean, is it even worth it if that's where our random licenses stay? I mean, can I still shoot a good moose there?
Yeah, so that's a great question and one I've had a lot. 25 and 26 are actually doing really well. 26 is right here, just over the hill from me. I've hunted it. I've actually had one moose tag in there before when I was a lot younger, and hope to draw another one here one of these days. But it was looking pretty rough for a while, but it has definitely come back, and we've seen some really good bulls in there lately. And I've been talking with the outfitters and guys that live over in 25 and been seeing the moose come out of there. There's some really good bulls over there. The part about 25 people want to take into consideration is there's a lot of private over there, and a lot of those moose are down on that private. So you may have to pay a trespass fee, or if you're wanting to get an outfitter or something, that's no problem. So the outfitters have quite a bit of that leased up over there or can access it.
Gotcha. If I was sitting at less than 23 points, is there even a chance for me to draw a cow moose tag or just jump out of the game sooner than later?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we've had that discussion a lot. Guys just wanting to burn points, and yeah, there's a chance there. But I think where we used to be able to draw some of those cow tags with 7, 8, 9 points, I think it's going to take a lot of points to draw them, because I think a lot of people are doing that. A lot of guys in the mid-teens are cashing in low 20s. A lot of people with these high points are just getting older, and they need to burn them and go get after it. And plus, I mean, yeah, it's not going to get any better. I don't think we're going to see our moose numbers increase a bunch. It's not like they're going to be issuing any more tags either.
Jeez, that's tough.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, and that. So yeah, it goes right back to that weighted point system like we talked about before. If they can get it through, maybe you got a chance in the long run. But I don't know. There's just not enough animals out there for sure to make everybody happy.
Let's talk about elk for a second before we jump to deer and antelope. So your lovely elk draw, they make a supply by January 31st, when your whole state looked very different January 31st than it does now. And so they haven't set the license numbers. They're still going to set that later this month. And then they're going to do a modification time up till, I believe it's May 8th, and then hopefully results soon after that. So what are they looking at as far as license numbers for elk?
I don't see a lot of changes coming. There's people, we've been in a lot of meetings lately that are calling for reductions in certain areas, especially out in the south central part of the state in some of those limited quota areas. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. From the biologists that I've talked to, they're like, no, the elk are doing okay. Yeah, we've lost some, but it's not like we're losing big numbers of them like we are the deer and the antelope. Elk are just bigger, stronger. They handle these winters a little better for sure. It's one of these winters that we normally don't lose elk. We lose more elk on the road than we do to winters up here. And man, it's just been a different winter for sure. There may be some cuts here and there, but I don't think we're going to see major cuts by any means anywhere. So I wouldn't be too worried about that for the most part. So
Okay. So if I've already applied for elk, I can still go in there and adjust my unit selection or withdraw up till that first week of May if it just doesn't fit with my schedule anymore, and I don't want to be in the draw.
yeah, we need to, if you're worried about it or curious about it, the commission meeting's the 17th and 18th of April here. As soon as that's done, go check it out, see what they're going to do. Give us a call. We'll let you know, and then you can make that decision from there. So,
yeah. Well, they're still sitting on my money, but at least I can make a change.
Yep, exactly. Oh, they're not going to give you your money back right now.
No. Okay, what about the big ones, deer and antelope? So normally we've already got the draft regulations. They've already got license quotas set or proposed, I should say, and they're supposed to vote on them the 17th, 18th of April, and our deadline to apply is May 31st. But what is it looking like with this winter?
It's looking bleak, I guess, would be the best word for it. A lot of people keep throwing out catastrophic winter up here, and we've had bad winters before. But I don't think we've ever had a winter that probably started this early in October, cold, snow, and then it just never backed off. So it just kept coming. Snow, we'd get snow, and then cold again. Most of the state, especially the western side of the state, the southwestern side, they broke records for snowfall and for below zero temperatures. So, and broke them bad by 20, 25 days in some of these areas. I think they said the other night at the meeting that they averaged out on that winter range in LaBarge like 39 days of below zero temperatures, and they already had over 60 days of below zero temperatures, with the coldest being 54 below zero one day. So
whoa,
that gets pretty tough. I don't care who you are or how tough you think you are. That gets pretty tough on you out there. So especially trying to eat sagebrush, and a lot of snow to go with it. So, we're still waiting for numbers to come in. Been in a lot of meetings. We even got our governor involved in a few of these meetings the last couple of weeks. He's trying to be proactive. I wish him, I hope he does, and I wish him the best to try to fix some of this, but basically it boils down to the damage has been done. We're going to see some of these areas going to have 50, 60, maybe up to 70% loss this winter. So on adult animals. And
wow.
All the young animals in these areas are just not going to make it. So.
That's going to take years to bounce back. I know.
Yep. Especially on the mule deer. The antelope, we've always seen them bounce back a little better.
Sure.
They have a few more fawns and everything, but yeah, it's the mule deer, they were looking pretty rough anyways. And the Wyoming range mule deer right here where I live, we're predicting it's probably going to go down around 12,000 head is what it'll be down to. I heard that was over 70,000 at one time. So,
and that's what a lot of people are looking at is, I want to go hunt Region H or Region G this year. And you blessed residents obviously aren't limited. You can still do whatever you want, but are they going to propose even more cuts, do you predict?
Yeah, so these are all the meetings we've been talking about, and the residents are finally on board, of the majority of them, to restrict residents, but they can't do it right now because it's never passed through legislation, and all they can do right now to the residents is to shorten the seasons, which they do have proposals to do that. They're not restricting us enough, in my opinion. We're going to go fight that a little more, try to restrict it some more, get these seasons cut down to really, really short, 6 days, 5 days, something like that. We would love to just put a cap on them, go limit a quota. It would be the thing to do, but by legally they just can't do it right now. Game and Fish, their hands are tied, unfortunately, and hopefully this is the thing that we needed to make that change, and they'll get that passed through legislation next year. But on the antelope side, they can do that on the antelope side because everything's limited quota anyways. we're going to see some huge cuts. Their proposals were already to cut about 2,200 antelope tags. I think we're going to see at least double that from the sounds of it. So
Wow.
maybe possibly a few areas completely shut down is what guys are asking for.
And that's mainly in the Red Desert, Green River Basin, South Central Wyoming.
Yeah, that South Central country is really bad. That Bags country down in there, yeah, they got hit really hard early, and it's been cold and lots of snow, and those animals just aren't used to that down there. That country usually breaks open even mid-February, and that even on a bad winter, and boy, it just hasn't. It's still all white out there, and some of the counts that, talking to the biologists and stuff, some of their counts are really, really low. And at the meeting the other night, somebody said that, yeah, well, we got to go count again, and I think our counts are just too low. We weren't finding the antelope, and somebody spoke up and said, yeah, that's because they're under the snow. That's why you couldn't find them. So, and unfortunately, that's probably the case in a lot of these areas. So.
Wow. So what's the process look like? I mean, if I'm applying for the big species, trophy species, I got to apply by April 17th. That's my hard deadline.
Yep.
And if I'm thinking about deer and antelope or trying to figure out if I have enough preference points, am I going to have license quotas set then, or could it be later?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. We asked this to the director, Game and Fish Director Nesbeck, and to the governor the other night at the meeting, and they do have a clause in there that they can, if they don't have or feel they have the information they need at the time of the meetings, the commission meeting on 17th and 18th, they can set it back and they can wait to set dates and set quotas on what they're going to do. And this may be one of those years that they do that. I know all these field agents are out working hard, but you just can't get around in this country. You still can't get around. The only way to get around is with the snowmobile to go count, and that gets stressful on the animals that are still alive, or they've been flying a lot, trying to see what they can find that way. So, but it's hard to count dead animals that you can't see either under the snow. So, yeah.
Well, I wish we had a better answer, but I guess they're trying to be as proactive as possible on setting these quotas, and hopefully we'll know before we have to apply May 31st. I wouldn't apply early.
No.
You're going to go ahead and change it.
That is really good advice, and that's basically everyone I've talked to about it. Don't just hang on for a little while here. I've had a lot of people call in already saying, well, I'm just going to do points then. Well, let's see what happens. This country can open up fast, and let's see what happens. Yeah, it's going to be bad. There's no doubt about it. It's the worst winter that I've ever lived through in my lifetime up here, just as far as longevity. I mean, I'm up here 6,200 feet, and I got over 4 foot of snow here at my house right now. So, on the level, that's settled snow right now. So I've never seen it like that here the 6th of April. And it's, we're going to, if nothing else, we should have some fishing later on in the summer. So got to be optimistic, I guess. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that's a pretty decent update, at least how it stands right now. We may have to get you on again to talk about deer and antelope, first part of May before it gets too close to our deadline. But
yeah, let's do it.
They're going to make these decisions late. I wish they would just push these draw deadlines back even further.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. I mean, that draw deadline, for the big species, they're on the 17th. I never could get a real good answer why they moved it back to that when we asked them to move it, because they didn't know where the non-resident tags were going to be, and they said, well, we'll do it the 17th. And why? I know they want to get the draws out. Was one of the reasonings behind it. They want to get that draw out, get the non-resident elk draw out. But yeah, this is just one of those years we may even see an extension there. But if you want to apply, I'd get in here in the next week or so for that.
Got it. Sounds like a plan. Thanks, Logan, for your update. I hope you got your snowmobile all still fired up, fueled up.
They're still running, so yeah, that's good. All right, thanks, Austin. You take care.